And welcome back to Noah's MMA. Today's video is going to be a reaction to UFC 293. It was this past weekend. It was a barn burner, the whole thing, to say the least. From the early prelims to the prelims to the main card. Oh man, it was a great event. In Australia, it was actually in the afternoon there, I believe. And I'm just going to talk about the main card. And man, what a great card. I mean, everybody performed. It was awesome to watch. I'm going to brush over the first few fights. And first, we had Tyson Pedro versus Anton Tolgaj. And Tyson Pedro from City Kickboxing, he came out with the first round finish. It was a great fight. You guys should check out the highlight. He had a little ninja moment where he like slashes the air after the fight. It was cool. Good highlight for him. Next, we have Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. Justin Tafa coming out with the first round KO as well. It was a great fight. Both guys showed heart and much respect. Next, we have Felipe Dos Santos versus Manel Cap. And man, this was a good fight. Both guys showed their toughness, their grittiness. You know, Felipe Dos Santos is kind of a newcomer in the game, and for being on a pay-per-view main card, he did extraordinary. I mean, this guy showed out. These Brazilians, a lot of them are just dogs. They just have the dog in them. There's no quit. They just give it their all. It's beautiful to watch. Manel Cap came out with the win. But all three rounds were great, and they all showed extreme toughness. The co-main event was Tai Tuivasa versus Alexander Volkov, and man, Tai Tuivasa he doesn't disappoint. I mean, he's a fan favorite for a reason. His style is exactly what a casual would want to see. Which is just two people doing the man dance, standing there and banging and just throwing down, throwing punches, straight boxing with some kicks. You know, Alexander Volkov is a striker. Tai Tuivasa, like I said, he's got the striking. He ended up losing. Tai Tuivasa lost via Ezekiel choke, which is just wild. Because an Ezekiel choke is, it's very rare to see in an MMA setting. I mean, even in grappling, in Ezekiel, it's a hard choke to hit. Alexander Volkov got him on the ground, and he was able to mount him and get a mounted Ezekiel choke. And Tai Tuivasa, he tried to shrimp. He tried to hip bump a little bit and squeeze his way out of there, but he couldn't. Second round submission for Alexander Volkov. What a guy. All right, now on to the main event. Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya. What a fight. For starters, this is probably one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. I really can't think of a bigger upset. I mean, you got Matt Serra versus GSP. Then recently we had Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. But Sean Strickland, man, I just got to say real quick, I called this a couple years ago. I said that guy will be a champion one day. I didn't know when. I didn't know how long it would take, how much work against who. But I remember saying to myself after seeing him fight, I can't remember who it was, but I just said that guy has the likings to be a champion. He has the mindset. He's got the drive, the grit, the ability to just step into the fire. He's got amazing defense, and that is what we learned. He uses a Philly shell. He's basically boxing the whole time. Izzy is just looking like, I'm in here to take care of business. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to knock this dude out. I might submit him, and he's just looking super relaxed. And in the first round, Sean knocks Izzy down, and this is the first knockdown Izzy's ever experienced in his entire UFC career. He was obviously knocked out by Pereira in kickboxing, but he's never been knocked down. And Sean hits him with a 1-2, the cleanest, quickest 1-2 you'll ever see. Knocks Izzy down, goes crazy, starts, trying to get him out of there. Bam, 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 and they're gonna give Izzy the benefit of the doubt because in his first outing with Pereira, he complained that he wasn't out and that the fight was, stopped premature. So Mark Goddard gives him a lot of chance to recover. They could have stopped that fight, but they didn't. I'm glad they didn't, and I'm glad Mark Goddard gave Izzy a chance to recover, because it ended up being a great fight. It just wasn't Izzy's night. So we come out in round two. Izzy's obviously a little bit like, whoa, what just happened? I just got knocked down. This guy's way stronger, way quicker. His defense is impeccable. What am I going to do here? How am I going to work this? He's still taking reads. Izzy does get the second round, but the next 3 rounds, there's no question who's winning. And it was just wild to see, because none of us saw this coming. Izzy's known to be one of the best strikers in the UFC, one of the best strikers they've ever seen. And yes, although Sean does have good cardio, we just weren't expecting this from him. So from rounds 3 to 5, it was just Sean, not getting hit, making him miss, and making him pay. Izzy looked slow. He kind of looked tired. He kind of looked like he didn't want to be there. And man, it was mind-blowing. And at the end of the fight, Sean was just egging him on. He was like, come on, let's go. Hit me. And he just wouldn't pull the trigger. And, I wonder, is it because Sean's defense is so good and Sean is so good? Or is it because Izzy just had a bad night? And now I would say probably it's a little bit of both. After the fight, Izzy was up there about to do some media, and it just seemed like he just was feeling too ashamed, and he just was like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to do this press conference. And he got his coach Eugene Behrman in to, speak for him on his behalf. So where we go from here for Sean and where we go from here for Izzy is a question. Dana said we're going to have an instant rematch, or actually he said we're going to, a rematch makes sense. And I'm thinking like, yeah, it kind of does. But at the same time, I agree with what Daniel Cormier said, which is, I don't know if Izzy should have an immediate rematch. I feel like he needs some time. I feel like he needs to recuperate, recover. He did basically just lose the belt, and then he got it right back, and now he lost it again. So in his last 3 outings, he's lost the belt twice. But then again, it's Israel Adesanya. The dude is a superstar, and he's so good. But I just got to say, Sean Strickland, man, you killed it. And he didn't just beat him enough to win. He absolutely dominated the fight. This isn't what the UFC wanted, but I do think they're going to learn to love Sean. There's an absolutely huge audience that he speaks to, especially here in America, of, kind of like blue collar people and, people that have had it rough. I mean, this guy had one hell of an abusive life. He was abused by his dad, by his mom. Drugs were all around him growing up. At one point, he was racist, and he says that he was saved by martial arts. And so he walks into a gym when he's 14. He was apparently like a little neo-Nazi or something, and it just gave him happiness for the first time in his life. And after hearing all the interviews through the week, my opinion kind of changed on the guy. Before, I kind of just thought, damn, this guy is just, I mean, from his own words, like, he's just kind of a trashy mother effer. He just kind of doesn't give a shit about anything but fighting people, and that's the only thing he cares about. And he thinks and has thoughts of killing people, and that's how he gets his motivation, is he likes to kill people. So the only way he can take out that energy is to fight people in the cage. But at the end of the day, this is really a good story. I mean, this is the way we want to see people rehabbed in this world. Like the people that are, having thoughts of harming others, having thoughts of harming themselves, getting into gangs, selling drugs, fighting on the street. This guy is one hell of a story. I mean, the fact that MMA saved him and took him away from a life of possible jail or death is, to me, pretty beautiful. But this is what we need more of, is more exposure to guys succeeding in life through mixed martial arts. So I know I did think that Sean could be a champion one day. I gotta say, I didn't think it was going to be now. Given how well Izzy has been doing against his opponents, and given the showings that Sean's put on, getting knocked out by Alex Pereira, I wasn't giving him the fight. I thought he could win, but I didn't think he was gonna win. I thought there was a much greater chance that he was gonna lose than win. Anyways, yeah, that was my breakdown of UFC 293. I'll be doing more videos like this about MMA and my reactions to certain things in the MMA community. Doing lots of videos, and welcome to the Arc if you haven't been on this channel before, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace.